Alrighty, so if anybody has been paying attention to what has been happening to the Marvel Cinematic Universe after Endgame in 2019, you would have known that Marvel Cinematic Universe have been making some seriously dumb creative decisions and some seriously dumb marketing decisions because they have been trying to market their movies and base their movies on mostly identity politics and pushing the messaging of identity politics, whether it be woke feminist identity politics or in the case of Eternals, where it is maybe woke, whatever politics you want to call it, the LGBTQ agenda politics, right? All of these things don't work because nobody gives a flying flip about many of these things. I have been calling Kevin Feige out for the longest of times, and other people have been doing so, but the access media is always quick to rush to Kevin Feige's defense. Well, now somebody who's important, who is a major shareholder in Disney, is also calling Kevin Feige out. Kevin Feige's Marvel movie records called out into question after a string of MCU failures by Bob Iger's Disney investor rival. That Disney investor rival will happen to be Nelson Peltz. That's a familiar name because Nelson Peltz has been in a proxy war with Disney for the last couple of months, maybe up to a year now, trying to win some board seats so that he can become part of the creative decision makers at Disney. And given the records that we've seen of what Disney has done, especially with Lucasfilm, the MCU, and their own IPs as well, it has been shambolic. So I want us to dive into this, see whatever the access media is going to say now that some other guy has started criticizing Disney, and indeed, in this particular case with the MCU, criticizing Kevin Feige. So let's dive right in. I'm going to share my opinion as we go along. Feel free to share your opinion in the comment section below. Without further ado, here we go. Disney investor Nelson Peltz calls into question Kevin Feige's recent records when it comes to Marvel's box office failures, reigniting an old rivalry. So the old rivalry would possibly be the former chairman of, Marvel Cinematic Universe, Ike Perlmutter, who has been complaining about Disney in the past and has been deemed a controversial figure for doing so. Nelson Peltz, an investor interested in winning some board seats at Disney, recently called Kevin Feige's ability to run the MCU into question. And so have I. So have I, brother. These comments come after the recent box office disappointment of the Marvels and a largely disappointing 2023 for Marvel Studios and its parent company, Disney, like I said before. Whilst there are some concerns that can be raised about the current state of the MCU, it is also worth noting that these statements come from an ally of the controversial ex-executive Ike Perlmutter. What makes Ike Perlmutter a controversial figure? Because he called out Disney for their excessive spending. Like they spent $250 million on the Marvels. What did he do? Did he recoup their money? No. They spent a whole lot of money on, Ariel or whatever you want to call it, the Little Mermaid. They spent over what? $250 million on that one as well, and over $80 million in marketing. And that movie made only $500 million when it needed to make at least $700 million for them to recoup their money, not to make profit, to recoup their money. So it lost money. So they've been losing money. And when it comes to the stock exchange, if you check Bloomberg, as of last year, October, Disney's stocks had plummeted over $218 billion. And for what he's complaining about, Iger is actually retooling and doing the exact same thing that Ike Perlmutter had said that they should do. They should cut spending. However, the way Bob Iger is doing it now is cutting spending by cutting staff. And 7,000 staff are going to lose their jobs as a result of it, because it's announced that they're going to be cutting $2 billion in spending. And last year, he announced that they were going to be cutting $5.5 billion in spending, right? And this is what Ike Perlmutter was talking about. So what's controversial about that? However, they're not going to say that they are making this adjustment based on the things that Ike Perlmutter and people like Nelson Peltz had said before. They're going to say that those people are controversial for criticizing Disney for doing dumb shit. These recent comments come from activist investor Nelson Peltz, as reported by Variety, who has had some conflict with Disney CEO Bob Iger in the past, following some statements about Black Panther and the Marvels, which misrepresented the films themselves. This is what they want to focus on, the misrepresentation of the films. Peltz was asked about his thoughts on Kevin Feige. Peltz's comments on Marvels and Feige can be seen below. So the misrepresentation is him talking about why should they make a black movie, or why should they make a feminist movie, a movie based on women, or a movie based on just black people, and so on and so forth. And this is what he had to say. Why do I have to have a Marvel movie that's all women? Not that I have anything against women, but why do I have to do that? Or why do they have to do that? Why can't I have Marvels that are both men and women? Why do I need an all-black cast? I'm not ready to say Kevin Feige should be removed as president of the Marvels, but I question his record. And what did they focus on? They focus on the fact that, the Access Media is focusing on the fact that, Black Panther had some white cast. Yes, some white cast who were embarrassed in the beginning, who were a bunch of nobodies, and maybe one or two other white casts who were, demeaned in that movie in terms of the SHIELD agent or whatever he was. I can't remember. In any case, you guys, it's worth noting that the Marvels does include characters like Nick Fury, who aren't women. Nick Fury is a guest character. It's not about Nick Fury. It's about the three Marvel women, right? It's not about him. And it's about the Marvel bad villain who happens to be a woman as well. I mean, Nick Fury's character is that type of character who's such a guest star in the movie that, at the end of the credits, they will say, and Samuel L. Jackson. Right? That means that he's not really part of the movie. It's not centered around him, right? So this is what they wanted to focus on, that, it has some male characters in there. It has some white characters in there. No. That's not what he's talking about. That's not the substance of what he's saying. The substance of what he's saying is that identity politics does not sell. That's the substance. But this is what they want to focus on. They go on to continue to make more excuses for Disney's failure. And this is what, the Access Media is saying is responsible. If I can just move this damn thing. Is responsible for the failure. They said, while it is clear that the MCU is having issues, it seems unfair to put it all on Feige. No, it doesn't, because any excuse you want to make in recent times has been blown away out the window. Whether you try to say it's COVID, well, The Rise of Gru made almost $1 billion during that period of time, whereas other Disney movies were floppity flop, including the Marvel's movies like the Eternals. They were flops. So you can't say that it is based on that. They want to say it's the Actors Strike Guild. Well, Barbie breaks that narrative. Super Mario Brothers breaks that narrative. Oppenheimer breaks that narrative. Godzilla 1X break that narrative. And the list goes on and on and on. They go on to say there is no way that Kevin Feige could have predicted the major situation. Now they want to blame it on Jonathan Majors. Jonathan Majors, who went out there to try to preach the systemic racism thing, that he's experiencing systemic racism. Something that they said also in the Secret Invasions for, Marvel series Secret Invasions recently, talking about how black people experience systemic racism and whatnot. Don Cheadle and what's his name in a conversation saying something of that nature, and Samuel L. Jackson, right? So he goes out there to talk about how he's experiencing what he's experiencing in Jonathan Majors, that it's because of systemic racism, regardless of the fact that the person that is prosecuting you happens to be black, the police chief happens to be black, the mayor of the city that you're in happens to be black, right? So everybody involved in the case happened to be black, yet you're saying that it is systemic racism, and yet Disney still dropped him like hot potato. Right? Regardless of the fact that some of the things that they accused him of, they were not entirely true. Though the Marvels could have been delayed, it would have necessitated pushing back the entire MCU slate. It's also worth considering that the issue Pelt identified with the Marvels don't hold up to scrutiny. So they continue with all of this stuff, and they continue to say things like this, claiming that, some of the things that he's saying holds no water. But what they're focusing on is they are nitpicking on the exact word, his choice of words. But the real thing that he's saying is that the wokeification of Disney is leading to the brokeification of Disney. This guy is worth $1.7 billion. His firm is worth billions and billions of dollars. They own about 30 million shares in Disney, worth over $2.5 billion. I think this brother knows what he's talking about when it comes to making money. But there you have it. Access Media will always jump to the defense and make one excuse or the other. And I actually do blame Access Media for actually psyching and egging on the rest of the Hollywood to continue to do what they do. I don't know which comes first, the chicken or the egg, whether Hollywood is paying them to do it or whether they are doing it so that they can continuously have their access to Hollywood, first dibs on screening movies before everybody else screens those movies, and so on and so forth. These things, or first dibs on going into new theme parks, or if there are new themes created in the old theme parks, they're the first to actually see it and enjoy it and whatnot. And all of these things help them in, their own, cause and whatever, for making money. But there you have it, you guys. What do you think about Nelson Peltz calling out Kevin Feige? What do you think about Nelson Peltz, proxy war with Disney? And, is it legit? Should he be doing such a thing? Or do you think Disney is going in the right direction? Whatever you think, let me know in the comment section below. I want to thank you guys for watching this video. Hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, feel free to like, share, comment, subscribe, ding that bell for notification, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. And I hope this video doesn't lag. I'm using a new system. Hopefully it doesn't lag, but if it does, I'm really sorry about that. Talk to you guys later. Take care. Peace. And Sayaz out. Bye-bye.